Okay. So the people on YouTube couldn't hear me until now, but you can hear me now. So we're going to start our meditation today by finding our meditation position. So go ahead and make sure that you are comfortable and in an upright, stable position. We can see, we can connect with the fact that we aren't practicing alone, but we're practicing with a community today. So we are gathering together as a community for the purpose of practice, for training the mind. So it can be easy to feel inspired and to feel encouraged to give our full attention to this moment. So finding your meditation position, you can begin to take 2 or 3 deep breaths. Breathing in deeply and bringing the mind home to the body. Bringing our attention onto the body. The feeling of the breath in the body, flowing in and flowing out. And as we start to give our interest, our attention to the breath and the body, we can also get more and more comfortable, making sure that our body is really where we want it to be right now. So we detach, we let go of our doing, of what we've been doing. We find this still and stable position for the body. We start to give our attention to the process of breathing, and we begin to notice rather than doing. Noticing the breath as it's flowing in and flowing out. Noticing all of the present moment sensations and experiences in the body. Being with the breath, being with the body, and letting go of our habit of looking outside. Starting to look inside and be with the body sitting here. Be with the breath as it flows in and flows out. At this time, everything else that comes to the mind, feelings, thoughts, perceptions, distractions, judgments, worries, anything and everything that comes up, at this time it is a reminder and an invitation to enjoy and to turn in, to lean in, to just breathing, just being aware. This just breathing, just being aware is a kind of introspective pathway. It's like a path that we follow deeper and deeper into this forest of understanding, of compassion, of wisdom. And it's just a matter of, at this moment, make sure that the body is comfortable and still. Turn the mind inward and practice just breathing, just being aware. And it's not to meditate for a particular period of time. It's just at this moment to lean in as fully as you can into just breathing, just being with the breath, just feeling the breath as it flows in and flows out. Taking up this opportunity and this responsibility of the inward journey, of turning inward, just by, simply by, just breathing, just being aware. Not for a particular period of time, but just at this very moment. And to turn in, to tune in to this very moment, this just breathing, as sincerely as you can, without any extra thought or perception or idea. everything extra that comes up. Judgment, ideas, feelings. Just to support you, just to remind you, right now, all you have to do, all you are here to do, to practice, is just breathing. Try at this moment to make peace with and to accept just breathing. So we give up, we offer everything, past and future, body and mind, likes and dislikes, person and place, judgments. We offer the whole sum of our lives up to this point to the practice of just breathing, just sitting, just breathing, just being aware. the joy and freedom of detachment far outweigh the pleasure and constraint of desire. So this is our moment to practice mindfulness and detachment. Just breathing and being aware at this very moment. So there's also this aspect of meditation where, as we are practicing, as we are following the meditation method, just breathing, following the breath as it flows in and flows out, and certainly getting distracted and returning to the meditation method. There's this dimension of meditation that is to know what we are doing. Not only to practice it, but to know that we are practicing it. In this way, those other idea that's static in the background, those general judgments about our life, past or future, what have you, they are kind of dissolved by this knowing of what you are doing right now. So it is to practice just breathing, just being aware, and also to know that that is exactly what's happening right now. That is exactly what you are doing right now. Just breathing and being aware. Like and dislike are not important. Pleasure and pain are not important. Right and wrong are not important. What is important is to practice mindfulness and detachment at this moment, to practice wholeheartedly, just breathing, just being aware. So you are welcome to stay in your meditation position and to continue practicing just breathing, just being aware. But make sure that you are comfortable. And I will read from Ajahn Chah's teaching here, and we can all enjoy this Dharma rain, listening from the heart, listening from the body, listening from our mindfulness. The Buddha taught about hair, nails, skin, and teeth. He taught us to separate here. A person who does not know about separating only knows about holding them to himself. So that is a person that does not know about seeing that the hair is the hair, the fingernail is the fingernail, the skin is the skin, does not know about this non-self nature in all the different parts of our body, but instead only knows about holding them to themselves, right? So there's no hair or skin, it's just you, it's just mind, it's just self. Now, while we have not yet parted from these things, we should be skillful in meditating on them. We have not yet left this world, so we should be careful. We should contemplate a lot, make copious charitable offerings, doing many good deeds, study the Buddhist teachings a lot, practice a lot, develop insight into impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and selflessness. That is, that there is no real, true, permanent self. That is, that no experiences that you have mentally or physically are going to satisfy you. And that is impermanence, that whatever we have, we will lose, it will pass away. Even if the mind does not want to listen, we should keep on breaking things up like this and come to know in the present. That is, this breaking up is to investigate, to look closely, to look deeply, to look more and more. This can most definitely be done. One can realize knowledge that transcends the world. And we may find this in our meditation practice. I certainly always find that. Maybe in my day or in my life, I feel stuck. I feel trapped. I feel there is such a burden, such an unsatisfactory storm that seems to be engulfing me, engulfing my region. And then through this practice of breaking things up, looking deeply, coming to know in the present, one can realize knowledge that transcends the world. And this kind of knowledge is experiential, it's not intellectual. Through contemplating so even if the mind does not want to listen, we should keep on breaking things up like this and come to know in the present. So even if in general we can't do our best every day and we have a difficult time to manage the situation, even if the mind does not want to listen, we should keep on breaking things up like this and come to know in the present. This can most definitely be done. One can realize knowledge that transcends the world. We are stuck in the world. This is a way to destroy the world. Through contemplating and seeing beyond the world so that we can transcend the world in our being. Even while we are living in this world, our view can be above the world. In a worldly existence, one creates both good and evil. Now we try to practice virtue and give up evil. Now we try to practice skillfulness in our daily lives and give up unskillful activities. When good results come, then you should not be under that good, but be able to transcend it. So we always thinking about transcending the bad, the unpleasant, but in fact we also want to transcend the good, not to get bogged down, not to get infatuated by the good. This is also a kind of suffering. When good results come, then you should not be under that good, but be able to transcend it. If you do not transcend it, then you become a slave to virtue and to your concepts of what is good. It puts you in difficulty, and there will not be an end to your tears. It does not matter how much good you have practiced. If you are attached to it, that is, if you are attached to the good effects and also the idea of doing good, if you are attached to it, then you are still not free, and there will be no end to tears. But one who transcends good as well as evil has no more tears to shed. They have dried up. There can be an end. We should learn to use virtue, not to be used by virtue. So we can also say that is to do good deeds and practice mindfulness and detachment, rather than to think about doing good deeds or to focus on the effects of our good deeds. There can be an end. In a nutshell, the point of the teaching of the Buddha is to transform one's view. It is possible to change it. It only requires looking at things, and then it happens. Having been born, we will experience aging, illness, death, and separation, loss. These things are right here. We don't need to look up at the sky or down at the earth. The truth that we need to see and to know can be seen right here within us, every moment of every day. When there is a birth, we are filled with joy. When there is a death, we grieve. That is how we spend our lives. These are the things we need to know about, but we still have not really looked into them and seen the truth. We are stuck deep in this ignorance, in this darkness. We ask, when will we see the Dhamma? We ask, when will we see the truth? When will we get it? When will we transcend this misery? But in fact, it is right here to be seen in the present. This is the Dhamma we should learn about and see. This is what the Buddha taught about. He did not teach about gods and demons and heavenly beings, protective deities, jealous demigods, nature spirits, and the like. He taught the things that one should know and see, not those things. These are the truths that we really should be able to realize. All external phenomena are like this, exhibiting the three characteristics. Internal phenomena, meaning this body, are like this too. The truth can be seen in the hair, nails, skin, and teeth. Previously they flourished. Now they are diminished. The hair thins, and becomes gray. It is like this. Do you see? Or will you say it is something you can't see? You certainly should be able to see with a little investigation. If we really take an interest in all of this and contemplate seriously, we can gain genuine knowledge. If this were something that could not be done, the Buddha would not have bothered to talk about it. How many tens and hundreds of thousands of his followers have come to realization? If one is really keen on looking at things, one can come to know. The Dhamma is like that. The truth is like that. Dhamma here means the truth. We are living in this world. The Buddha wanted us to know the world. Living in the world, we gain our knowledge from the world. The Buddha is said to be Lokavidu, meaning one who knows the world clearly. It means living in the world but not being stuck in the ways of the world. Living among attraction and aversion, but not stuck in attraction and aversion. This can be spoken about and explained in ordinary language. This is how the Buddha taught. Normally we speak in terms of self, talking about me and mine, you and yours. But the mind can in fact remain uninterruptedly in the realization of anatta, selflessness. Think about it. When we talk to children, we speak in one way. When dealing with adults, we speak in another way. If we use words appropriate to children to speak with adults, or adults' words to speak with children, it won't work out. In the proper use of conventions, we have to know when we are talking to children. It can be appropriate to talk about me and mine, you and yours, and so forth. But inwardly the mind is Dhamma, dwelling in the realization of no self. So, it can be appropriate, it can be suitable, it can be practical to talk about me and mine, you and yours, and so forth. But inwardly the mind should be set on the truth, dwelling in realization of no self, no real, true, permanent self. You should have this kind of foundation, and this is the foundation of freedom. This is the foundation of flexibility. This is the foundation of living in the world, interacting with, experiencing aversion and desire and dislike, but not being stuck, not being trapped by these experiences. Able to restart and refresh at this moment. So the Buddha said that you should take the Dhamma as your foundation, your basis, that place from which you extend outward from. Living and practicing in the world, will you take yourself, your ideas, desires, and opinions as a basis? That is not right. The Dhamma should be your standard. The truth should be your standard. If you take yourself as the standard, you become self-absorbed. If you take someone else as your standard, you are merely infatuated with that person. Being enthralled with ourselves or with another person is not the way of truth. The truth does not incline to any person or follow personalities. It follows the truth. It does not simply accord with the likes and dislikes of people. Such habitual reactions have nothing to do with the truth of things. If we really consider all of this and investigate thoroughly to know the truth, then we will enter the correct path. Our way of living will become correct. Thinking will become correct. Our actions and speech will be correct. So really, we should look into all of this. So that becoming correct, that finding the skillful direction, the direction according to the truth, is all coming from this place of investigation, this willingness to investigate, this willingness to look deeply, this willingness to practice. So we really should look into all of this. Why is it that we have suffering? Because of lack of knowledge, not knowing where things begin and end, not understanding the causes. This is ignorance. So maybe when we find ourselves to be in that place of anxiety, depression, having a rough day, a difficult day, being stuffed up in our mind, our room, whatever it might be, is there this lack of a willingness to investigate, to look closely, to stop what we are doing, to stop all of the motion and to sit upright, to bring the mind to be upright and to investigate this case, this situation at this moment of why are we suffering? Why is this happening? When there is this ignorance, then various desires arise, and being driven by them, we create the causes of suffering. Then the result must be suffering. When you gather firewood and light a match to it, expecting not to have any heat, what are your chances? You are creating a fire, aren't you? This is origination itself. So from this place of ignorance, from this place of kind of darkness and a lack of knowing, a lack of clarity, a lack of seeing clearly, we experience a lot of desire. And through acting out that desire, trying to feed or fulfill or satisfy this desire, we create suffering. If you understand these things, then morality will be born here. We can also say skillfulness will be born here. The skillfulness in relation to the ending of suffering. Dhamma will be born here. So prepare yourselves. The Buddha advised us to prepare ourselves. You needn't have too many concerns or anxieties about things. Just look here. Look at the place without desires, the place without danger. Nibbana paccaya hotu, the Buddha taught. Let it be a cause for Nibbana. If it will be a cause for realization of Nibbana, then it means looking at the place where things are empty, where things are done with, where they reach their end, where they are exhausted. Look at the place where there are no more causes, where there is no more self or other, me or mine. This looking becomes a cause or a condition for attaining Nibbana. This is for attaining enlightenment, for attaining the ending of suffering. Then, practicing generosity becomes a cause for realizing Nibbana. Practicing morality becomes a cause for realizing Nibbana. Listening to the teachings becomes a cause for realizing Nibbana, nirvana, enlightenment. Thus, we can dedicate all our Dhamma activities to become causes for Nibbana. But if we are not looking towards Nibbana, if we are looking at self and other and attachment and grasping without end, This does not become a cause for nirvana, for enlightenment. So our aim, our direction, our focus, our place of looking, our place of interest is to look for the place, to direct our attention to the place, to look at the place where things are empty, things are done with, where they reach their end, where they are exhausted. Look at the place where there are no more causes, where there is no more self or other, me or mine. So our practice of meditation is looking at that place, being at that place. If we can direct our mind in this way, if we can look in this way at this place, then being generous becomes a cause for becoming enlightened. Practicing morality becomes a cause for becoming enlightened. Listening to the teachings becomes a cause for becoming enlightened. Thus, we can dedicate all of our Dhamma activities to become causes for nirvana, for enlightenment. But we have to look at the place where things are empty, where things are done with, where there is no self or other, me or mine. But if in doing all of these activities and being generous, in practicing our morality, in joining for meditation or listening to Dhamma talks, if we are looking at self and other and attachment and grasping and what we are going to get out of it without end, then this activity does not become a cause for nibbana or for enlightenment. It does not become a cause for ending suffering. It just becomes a cause, even though it is a good cause, a good action. It just becomes an action that perpetuates this cycle of cause and effect, this cycle of birth and death, this cycle of self, me, mine. So we want to look at this place where there is no me or mine, where things come to an end. And for practical purposes here, we can consider it to be our meditation method, or we can consider it to be directing the mind, looking the mind at just breathing, just being aware. And that's our exercise of looking at this place where things are empty, where looking at this place where there is no me or mine. Now, when we deal with others and they talk about self, about me and mine, about what is ours, then we immediately agree with this viewpoint. We immediately think, yeah, that's right, but it's not right. Even if the mind is saying right, right, we have to exert control over it. It's the same as a child who is afraid of ghosts. Maybe the parents are afraid too. But it won't do for the parents to talk about it. If they do, then the child will feel he has no protection or security. No, of course Daddy is not afraid. Don't worry, Daddy is here. There are no ghosts. There's nothing to worry about. Well, the father might really be afraid too. If he starts talking about it, then they will all get so worked up about ghosts that they'll jump up and run away. Father, mother, and child all end up homeless. This is not being clever. This is not being skillful. You have to look at things clearly and learn how to deal with them. Even when you feel that deluded appearances are real, you have to tell yourself that they are not. Even in a situation where someone else's self-expression brings a self-response on your end and a kind of agreeance and endorsement of their self, bringing up a self in other. Even though you are feeling that and believing in that, you need to be clever, you need to be skillful, you need to be careful not to unnecessarily endorse these frameworks of self and other. So even when you feel that deluded appearances are real, you have to tell yourself that they are not. Now, this is not rejecting or fighting, it's reminding. Go against it like this. Teach yourself inwardly. When the mind is experiencing the world in terms of self, saying it's true, you have to be able to tell it it's not true. So we need to learn to use our mind, our faculties in this way, not to just go along with the mind. You know, the mind wants to bully us, or the mind wants to get into weird ways of thinking or weird fantasies. Well, so what? Tough luck, Jack. You know, you talk to the mind in this way. You don't just follow it because it expresses itself, even though you believe in it or you feel that it's true, that the appearance is true. So you have to look at things clearly, moment by moment, and learn how to deal with them. Even when you feel that deluded appearances are real, you have to tell yourself that they are not. Go against it like this. Teach yourself inwardly. When the mind is experiencing the world in terms of self, saying, it's true, you have to be able to tell it it's not true. You should be floating above the water, not be submerged by the floodwaters of worldly habit. The water is flooding our hearts if we run after things. Do we ever look at what is going on? Will there ever be anyone watching the house? One need not aim at anything or wish for anything at all. Just aim for nibbana. Just aim for cessation, ending. All manner of becoming and birth, merit and virtue in the worldly way do not reach there. Making merit and skillful karma, hoping it will cause us to attain some better state. We don't need to be wishing for a lot of things. Just aim directly for nibbana. Just aim directly for mindfulness and detachment. Wanting sila, that means wanting morality, wanting tranquility, wanting skillfulness, we just end up in the same old place. It is not necessary to desire these things. We should just wish for the place of cessation. So, wishing for this place of cessation, wishing for this place of a coming to an end, finish, stopped, ended, no more becoming, no more birth or death, not pleasant experiences, not to be skillful, not to be woke, not to be developed spiritually. Don't aim for that. But aim for cessation. Aim for the ending of becoming. Aim for the ending of arising with attachment and passing away with attachment. Aim for the ending of it in all aspects. Any questions or comments? Okay, let's take a few moments to aim for the ending of arising and passing away. Close your eyes. Practice just breathing, just being aware. And in a few moments, we will finish our practice today with some Buddhist chanting. You may feel that you need to work. You may feel that there is a future. You may feel that there is a past. You may feel that there is a self or a you that needs money. You may feel that way. But our capacity to move towards Nibbana, our capacity to move towards enlightenment, is that ability to be able to say, nonsense. Enough. To continue the practice at this moment, to aim at this moment for the real ending of suffering. Not to practice breathing as we think about self, other, work, money, but to practice just breathing and to aim to direct the mind to that just breathing. And when this mind of past and future and money and like and dislike come up, it's not to reject it, it's not to get rid of it because we don't have that kind of control, but it's to be able to say, enough. It is just like this. It is not some other way. Just breathing. Just being aware at this moment. Meditation is not really about doing. It is about allowing. The mind wants to get a candy bar, want to watch something, but we already in the midst of our meditation, we allow to come back to the breath. We allow to just sit where we are sitting. We allow this just breathing, just being aware to continue, not to be discouraged, not to give up. So in Buddhism, we have this two main concepts. One is a Buddha, someone who becomes fully enlightened, fully transcends all worldly affair, and they may share the Dhamma out of their compassion. They may share the teaching out of their compassion. They want to help other beings, this Buddha. But they are already enlightened. They have already finished the work. So this is a Buddha. This is what statue you can see behind represents. The Buddha, awakened one, someone who is completely awake, completely enlightened. The other idea that we have, or concept that we have in Buddhism, is something called a bodhisattva. So a bodhisattva is someone who is very advanced, very developed on the path of wisdom, of meditation, of morality. They are very spiritually developed. And a certain bodhisattva make a vow or a promise, this kind of great vow, this great promise, such as, I will not attain enlightenment until all beings, until all human beings on the planet have also become enlightened. And so throughout history, some of these bodhisattvas have become kind of like an archetype. They almost represent a kind of Jungian archetype, or a something like a divine role model, a divine archetypal role model for different aspects of the mind. So one, maybe the most important bodhisattva in Buddhism is a bodhisattva by the name of Avalokiteshvara, or Guanyin, or Guan. And this bodhisattva is oftentimes, the meaning is the one who hears the cries of the world, the one who perceives the cries of the world. So Guanyin, Avalokiteshvara, is often depicted with 1,000 arms. You may have seen her image before, 1,000 arms, and on each hand to have an eye. And so each eye can see all the sufferings of the world, and each hand can to alleviate those sufferings. So Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva is representing this ultimate, great, compassionate vow of seeing all the suffering in the world, seeing all the suffering inside of ourselves, or seeing all the suffering inside of other people, and making this great compassionate vow to alleviate those sufferings, to end those sufferings. And in Buddhism, because we have this perspective that, someone will say, especially a Western person will say, well, who's this Guanyin Pusa? Who's this Avalokiteshvara? Who are you? I mean, how many statues and stories of you are there out there, So in Buddhism, you are not real. You are not a true character. So in this way, Guanyin or Avalokiteshvara is just as real as you or me, but is actually representing a higher state of mind and a higher quality of mind that is possible for us to tap into. And so this is something along the lines of what Bodhisattva represents, and especially Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva. It's a very important part of Buddhism, big part of Buddhism. So today we are going to end with a chanting that I learned early on in my Zen career, that is a chant about Avalokiteshvara. And so I just wanted to give a little bit of background information about this Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, and we will end our session together with this chant, okay? So everyone can bring their hands together. Avalokiteshvara, perceiver of the cries of the world, takes refuge in Buddha, will be a Buddha, helps all to be Buddhas, is not separate from Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, being eternal, intimate, pure, and joyful. In the morning be one with Avalokiteshvara. In the evening be one with Avalokiteshvara, whose heart moment by moment arises, whose heart moment by moment remains. Avalokiteshvara, perceiver of the cries of the world, takes refuge in Buddha, will be a Buddha, helps all to be Buddhas, is not separate from Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, being eternal, intimate, pure, and joyful. In the morning be one with Avalokiteshvara. In the evening be one with Avalokiteshvara, whose heart moment by moment arises, whose heart moment by moment remains. Avalokiteshvara, perceiver of the cries of the world, takes refuge in Buddha, will be a Buddha, helps all to be Buddhas, is not separate from Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, being eternal, intimate, pure, and joyful. In the morning be one with Avalokiteshvara. In the evening be one with Avalokiteshvara, whose heart moment by moment arises, whose heart moment by moment remains. And we can finish with all saying a sadhu together 3 times. You can chant with me. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. All right, let's continue on the journey, and I wish everyone the best of luck. Remember to be eternal, intimate, pure, and joyful, to be one with Avalokiteshvara in the morning, to be one with Avalokiteshvara in the evening, and that is to investigate, to look, to be willing to hear the suffering, not just be pushed around by it. Okay? Thank you all for being here. See you again soon, and enjoy your moment.